The initiation of boys into a few of the elementary dogmas of the secret society by no means composes the entire work of the society. All of them are judicial, and taken on the whole, they do an immense amount of good. The methods are frequently a little quaint, rushing about the streets disguised under masks and drapery, with an imitation tail swinging behind you while you lash out at everyone you meet with a whip or cutlass, is not a European way of keeping the peace, or perhaps I should say maintaining the dignity of the law. But discipline must be maintained, and this is the West African way of doing it. The Egbo of Calabar is a fine type of secret society. It is exceedingly well developed in its details, not sketchy like the Izoigo, nor so red-handed as the Pora. Unfortunately, however, I cannot speak with the same amount of knowledge of the Egbo as I could of Pora. Egbo has the most grades of initiation, except perhaps Pora, and it exercises jurisdiction over all classes of crime except witchcraft. Any Afiki man who desires to become an influential person in the tribe must buy himself into as high a grade of Egbo as he can afford, and these grades are expensive, £1,500 or £1,000 English being required for the higher steps, I am informed, but it is worth it to a great trader, as influential Efiki necessarily is, for he can call out his own class of Egbo and send it against those of his debtors, who may be of lower grades, and as the Egbo methods of delivering its orders to pay up consist in placing Egbo at a man's doorway until it removes itself from that doorway, the man dare not venture outside his house. It is most successful. Of course, the higher a man is in Egbo rank, the greater his power and security, for lower grades cannot proceed against higher ones. Indeed, when a man meets the paraphernalia of a higher grade of Egbo than to which he belongs, he has to act as if he were lame and limp along past it humbly, as if the sight of it had taken all the strength out of him, and, needless to remark, higher grade debtors flip their fingers at lower grade creditors. After talking so much about the secret society spirits, it may be as well to say what they are. They are, one and all, a kind of sort of a something that usually, the exception is Akun, lives in the bush. Last February, I was making my way back towards Duketown. Late, as usual, I was just by a town on the Kwa River. As I was hurrying onwards, I heard a terrific uproar, accompanied by drums in the thick bush, into which, after a brief interval of open ground, the path turned. I became cautious and alarmed, and hid in some dense bush as the men making the noise approached. I saw it was some juju affair. They had a sort of box which they carried on poles, and their dresses were peculiar and abnormally ample over the upper part of their body. They were prancing about in an ecstatic way round the box, which had one end open, beating their drums and shouting. They were fairly close to me, but fortunately turned their attention to another bit of undergrowth, or that evening they would have landed another kind of thing to which they were after. The bushes they selected they surrounded, and evidently did their best to induce something to come out of them and go into their box arrangement. I was every bit as anxious as they were that they should succeed, and succeed rapidly, for you know there are a nasty lot of snakes and things in general, not to mention driver ants about that Calabar bush, and that do not make at all pleasant to go sitting about in. However, presently they got something into their box and rejoiced exceedingly, and departed staggering under the weight. I gave them a good start, and then made the best of my way home, and all that night Duketown howled and sang, and thumped its tom-toms unceasingly, for I was told Egbo had come into the town. Egbo is very coy, even for a secret society spirit, and seems to loathe publicity, but when he is ensconced in this ark, he utters sententious observations on the subjects of current politics, and his word is law. The voice that comes out of the ark is very strange and unlike a human voice. I heard it shortly after Egbo had been secured. I expect, from what I saw, that there was some person in that ark all the time, but I do not know. It is more than I can do to understand my Juju details at present, let alone explain them on rational lines. I hear that there is a tribe on the slave coast who have been proved to keep a small child in the drum that is in the residence of their chief spirit, and that when the child grows too large to go into it, it is killed. And another one that has had in the meantime been trained by the priests takes the place of the dead one until it, in its turn, grows too big and is killed, and so on. I expect this killing of the children is not sacrificial, but arises entirely from the fact that as ex-kings are dangerous to the body politic, therefore still more dangerous would ex-gods be.